the whole point of this seminar is how you can change your life with real estate investing. We're going to showcase a ton of clients. We love this because we get to tell their success stories. And we're going to showcase the different strategies that they use and how each strategy changes different people's lives. Now, we can even quote the numbers that they've made, but to kick this off, we're just going to take house hacking. That's the first example we're going to use. And we're going to showcase these clients that have had huge success house hacking and how it's changed their lives.
Yeah, so we love this because here we get to speak about the success of our clients. And you know what? They've followed our guidance and they're killing it. And it's great because you can see what they're doing and see if it's for you. So if you have any questions at all, just put it in the chat. We'll get to it. But house hacking is simply when you're living in, say, a property and you're renting out the basement suite, or it could be a garage suite, or it could be a garden suite. You're renting out a portion of the house. And Tim, I guess student rentals could fall into that too, if you really want.
Yeah.
Because we've got some people doing that. But the first guy we want to talk about is Steve Leneville on the left top corner in the black shirt. Steve, and we could tell you the actual stories. Steve is a fireman. He's been a fireman for many years. Tim's going too fast. Steve's a fireman, and we bought him this property. He came from Okotoks. He owned a little. This is one of those properties, Tim, in Okotoks. It was in the older part of Okotoks, and it probably hit the peak of what that property was going to be worth for a number of years at that time. And you sold that house in Okotoks, and we bought him a place in Fairview. And it's a split level. It's a split level, but it's suited. He bought a suited property to begin with. So what he did is he renovated the whole thing before he even moved into it. And the thing is he could do a lot of stuff. He was an electrician by trade, even though he's a fireman now. But he had a lot of experience in other kind of things like doing baseboards and painting and hanging doors and stuff like that. So he knew what he was doing. Yeah, he went to town on this. We bought it for him for around 400,000. Yeah. I think it was actually 390, Tim. You bought it for him. And so 390,000, he did a full reno upstairs and down. When we went to see him, he was getting such ridiculous rents at the time. This was like a couple of years ago. He's getting 1,400 back then. Now rents for that same property would be over 1,500. Yeah, that's the basement suite. The basement suite. Sorry, he lives upstairs. And so he's renovated the whole property. And we're also seeing, so he bought for 390, and the renovations would be around 80,000 because he did a lot of the work himself. And right now we've actually seen flips in Fairview and the neighboring community. And the reason why we bought in Fairview is because the neighboring community is Acadia. On the other side of Elbow is Haysboro. And Haysboro already has sales upwards of 900,000 for renovated. Acadia, we've seen in there up to 800. Yeah. And now Fairview is definitely in the 600-700 range for a house like this. So for a young fireman who just got married, that's what he's gone and done. So he was earning $1,400 downstairs, and his upstairs rent, Tim, at the time, well, not rent, his taxes, insurance, mortgage would have been roughly $600. Yeah, so he's living for $600, making all of this cash flow in the basement. So that's changing his life right now. He's now talking about moving to an acreage outside of the city. He recently got married. He wants to move to an acreage, so he's going to use that house in Fairview as a stepping stone to get there long before he would have if he was just earning a firefighter's wage. Yeah, that's perfect. And here's a guy who didn't go out and buy multiple properties. Yeah. He stuck with one, he renovated, he got the cash downstairs, which helped him pay down his mortgage. And now, Tim, I doubt there's much of a mortgage on that property. Yeah. And he'll have a massive deposit to go buy an acreage and do it all over again. Yeah. And that would be his family home. Okay, the next guy to go through that went too fast again, is Adam. Adam's right here. He's standing on the deck of one of his properties. This was a half duplex in Malin Heights, suited up, down. He uses that as Airbnb now. So he Airbnbs the top and the bottom. He actually lived in that house for a little while. Then he bought a house in Haysboro. Yep, Kingsland. Yeah. Kingsland. No, Haysboro. And we went and looked at it and appraised it for him about 4 months ago. He's living upstairs. He's doing Airbnb in the basement in that one as well. So he's house hacked twice. His portfolio is probably $800,000 worth of real estate right now. Maybe more, and it's changed his life to the hugely positive way. Yeah, and one thing about this property, you can see he's on his deck. It overlooks the city. We picked this up for right around the 400 range again. And you might be wondering, okay, they're all around the 400. It's because rents, you have to calculate what rents can cover, right? So this property here, what's unique about it, the downstairs, which is the basement, is on main floor.
Yeah.
And you come across these properties. So when you have a main floor basement suite, you really can rent it as a main floor. So he was getting exceptional rents, above average rents for a basement because it was a main floor, and then even better rents upstairs because it had the city views. And now he's into Airbnb.
Yeah, and so, okay, the next one to the right is Cynthia. Cynthia bought a house in Thorncliffe. It was fully renovated. She actually paid, we thought it was a premium price at the time.
$425 because it's fully renovated.
$425. We thought it was a premium price. That same property would sell for probably $650 right now. But she wanted a little mortgage helper when she moved in, so she rented out the basement.
Yep, she was a renter before.
Yeah.
Well, these two people were renters anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, she was a renter before, and her dad helped her out with the deposit, and she was nervous. And we still get phone calls from Cynthia, but she lives in a fully renovated house in Thorncliffe that we bought for $425. It's stunning, and now it's worth $600,000. She hasn't gone on to buy anything else, but you know, she's got a full-time job. She's got a mortgage helper downstairs, and you know what? She's in a position to do whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, and okay, the next one on the right, so upper right-hand corner, this is Connor. He's on his second house hacking house right now. We think he's going to be the mayor of Ogden. Both of them are in Ogden right now.
Yeah.
He wants to buy a third, but he's a young kid and he likes to go out a lot. So
Yes.
try to track him down to get him to buy a third. That'll be tough for us.
So he's a kid that moved out of home fresh into his first place. He actually moved into the basement suite and rented out upstairs. And when he rented out upstairs, it covered all his costs. So if you've seen the video on our YouTube channel, he's the kid that was living for free. And because he lived for free, he saved all his money. And Tim, how long did it take between the two properties?
Well, he bought the first one for $320.
Yeah.
And he put 20% down on that because he didn't want a large mortgage payment. So that left him free to put 5% down on the second property. He put 5% down on the second property, so he didn't have to save that much of a down payment. He bought the second one for $450 because it already had a legal suite in the basement.
Yeah.
Oh, and he did legalize the first one as well.
Yeah, he went through the whole process, legalized the first one. The first one he bought for $320.
Yeah.
And now Tim, $460.
Yeah.
Right around there. So we're talking within 2.5 years right now.
2.5 years, yeah.
So 2.5 years, he went from buying it for, and he did put a little bit of money for the renos, but nothing crazy.
No, he painted, did the baseboards, put in some vinyl plank, and that was about it.
So he's made over 100,000 on the first one. And the second one right now, Tim, you can't find a legally suited big bungalow like the second one he has. It fronts onto a park.
With a big garage out back.
Big garage. We can't find anything. We can't find a legal suite of property under 600,000 in the city with those same specs. So he's done extremely well on the second one as well.
Okay, so moving on to bottom left-hand corner, here's another Connor. It seems to be a popular name amongst these house hackers. He bought a place in Westgate. No.
Nah, it's near my house.
Glamorgan.
Glamorgan.
So he bought a half duplex legally suited in Glamorgan. He lives in the top. He rents out the basement. He's looking to do another one soon, but similar thing. He bought it. Actually, he paid $425 for that one. Now in Glamorgan, you can't buy a suited half duplex for under $570.
Yeah, this one comes with a garage. It came with a tenant when we bought it. He's just a young kid getting into his first property and saving up for his next one. So house hacking can really, really change your life. Cole and Tasha are the next couple here.
Right there.
Tim bought them that property too.
At the Canyon Meadows.
Canyon Meadows. And you know what? What'd you pay for that? It comes with a single car garage, walking distance to C-Train, South Center Mall.
$390?
$390. Right now they're selling closer to $500,000.
Yeah.
So with the garage, they moved into the basement suite, renovated the downstairs because the upstairs was already done.
Yeah.
And once again, they were living very cheaply, like for $400 a month. So house hacking can definitely change your life. It can make it more affordable. And if you're focused like these guys, Cole and Tasha just went and bought another one. We did the video on the weekend with them in Bowness, and they paid $390 for that one in Bowness. No garage. And that one's gone up $100,000 in Bowness in the last 6 months. So their first two properties, they've gone from renting in a basement suite to owning the first one in Canyon Meadows. The second one in Bonus Tim, they've gone and moved upstairs because Tasha was sick of living in a basement suite. And guess what? Within the next, they're already talking by the end of the year, because they've got 2 legal suite of properties now. They went through the process with the first one. They're on their way now to doing another property within the next 6 months. So hats off to them.
Yeah. So the next guy here, Lewis. Lewis bought a half duplex in Queensland. Lewis is quite a character. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think his video on our YouTube channel is house hacking in Technicolor.
Yeah.
Because the upstairs suite that he bought in Queensland was painted a funky blue and red and green.
Like Calypso colors.
Yeah, each wall was a different color.
And you know what? He bought the cheapest property in Ogden, one of the cheapest here.
Yeah.
Like he bought for 310 something ridiculous. And so came with a beautiful suite. And we don't think Lewis really cares what he does because he loves what we do, but he's a guy who took action, but he doesn't really want to go and buy many properties. We don't even know if we can get him to move out of this one. That's how happy he is.
Yeah.
You can see how happy he is in the picture. We told him he had to paint the house. He still has, I'm sure he still hasn't painted it. So,
but he did finally get a basement tenant.
You did get a tenant? Okay, you got a tenant. And Lewis, he bought for 310, and that property in Queensland right now, we can't find half duplexes under 450. So he's made just by simply taking action, following our steps. And we really had to encourage him that we're like, nah, Lewis, we'll make the right decision for you. He took action, and now he's probably got 120,000 in equity.
Yeah. Okay. The last guy for house hacking over here is John. John bought a fully legalized suite of property in Canyon Meadows. It was a beautiful house, or it is a beautiful house. Very big. I think it's a 1,500 square foot bungalow. It's got a 2 bedrooms and a den suite in the basement. He moved in upstairs. He was renting downstairs. He re-rented it for, I think, $1,500 a month. And he's on to his second property now. We're going to close on it in just a few days. It's a suite of property in Fairview. So like Steve's there, it's a really great property. It's got tenants in it. Beautiful house up and down, and it's got a garage out back. So he's gonna, I don't know if he's gonna move into this one, but he's gonna have 2 legally suited properties.
And $1.1 million worth of real estate.
$1.1 million worth of real estate.
Young guy, got a girlfriend now, was working in San Francisco. He met us online, came in for a meeting. We didn't know what John was going to do because he's coming back from the States, and this phone number would always ring. We get phone calls from all over, so we don't really normally take phone calls that we don't know. But anyway, he finally got hold of us, and now he owns 1.1 worth of real estate. And you know what? He's going to have 2 legal suited properties, and really makes good income, made smart decisions, and just can keep building. He's a guy that will surprise us and ended up owning a bunch of real estate at the end of the day. Yeah,
so we'll move on. So what else can change your life in real estate? Well, flipping can. Now, flipping's not for everybody, but for the people that it is, they can make huge profits on flipping. This top couple here standing here with Azad in this partially renovated house is Jeff and Susan. They actually partnered with Ryan, who's in the top right corner here, to renovate a house in Haysboro, and they had huge success with
that. Yes, I can tell you the story. They're actual members of our group. This property, we actually gave them an off-market property that they did very well off. Ryan joined as a member, had a lot of cash. We actually took $80,000 of Ryan, JV'd with Sue and Jeff to renovate this property, another one in Haysboro. The numbers were something like 525 purchase. I think it was 520 purchase, and it was roughly about $820,000 sale price after the reno. They did use hard money, so all the factors came into play here. They used Calgary for a hard money lending. It was a joint venture, and Ryan brought $80,000 to the table and helped them qualify for this project. So the project team only went for about 6-7 months. We timed it over the winter. So as soon as spring hit, we listed it and it sold straight away. And so One thing about this deal, though, we could tell you, Sue and Jeff are professional flippers.
Yeah.
They come from our American investment group down there, Bigger Pockets. They found us on there and wanted to connect with us, seeing what we're doing. And you know what? They're pros at it. So we need to stress that. It was one of those projects, when you do use hard money, you have to get going with your timing. And it turned out really, really good. We actually do a walkthrough on the property so you can see, and we run through the numbers on our YouTube channel so you can see what they're doing. But these next people, we'll go with Melissa and Kevin down the bottom on the motorbike. This is the first flip that they did. These guys, we love them. They met us online as well. And the difference between using us to buy a property to flip is that we're taking all of the speculation out. We're running all of the numbers. We're setting the budget on your renovation. We're telling you the end price, and we're telling you how much money you're going to put in your bank account at the end of the day. So that whole stressful part, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Is it going to work? We take all of that on, and our clients listen to us.
Yeah. And the numbers on this one is they bought it for $520.
Yeah.
It's a bi-level in Lake Bonavista Vista. They renovated it and they ended up turning it around for $820.
Yeah.
So their budget was, I think, $100,000. They went over and they were super, super worried that they went over. I think they did 120.
Yeah.
And they thought it was going to sell around the mid seven, sorry. So they were worried about their profit.
Mhm.
When we ended up getting them a price of $820 for it, that just blew them out of the water.
Yeah, yeah. And that led them on to their next project, which Tim Possession's coming up in a couple of days here.
No, it's
August.
August 1st.
So we just sold their property in Willow Park. After this one, we went and bought them in Willow Park. What did you buy for in Willow Park?
That one again bought for $520.
Yeah.
And they only put 70,000 into it. So
Yeah.
their all-in costs were under 600,000. And we just recently sold it for 843.
843. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Took 2,000 off.
Yeah.
Sold for 845 and they came back. And you know what? They only spent 70,000 in renos. So they didn't do everything.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. They didn't do everything. So a couple of things came up in the home inspection, but there's people lined up to buy this thing, sold for 843 and they bought for 520, spent 70 on it. Huge profit there. And now,
Yes. So that's two renos over $400,000 in profit. Of course, that's changed their lives.
yeah, and now they've gone into a community that they've always wanted to be in.
Parkland.
Tell them how much.
Yes. So they bought another one in Parkland. I think it was 550, but it's this massive bungalow, grandma's bungalow. And they're going to do it again with that one.
On one of the best streets
Yeah.
in Parkland. So, these things do take time, and if you do it right. And one thing we have to talk about the flipping is that we go in there and we tell you what has to be done.
Yeah.
What walls have to be opened up. Like Brad in the middle here with the big, what do you call those big saws?
Circular saw.
Circle saw. I'm not a handyman at all. You can tell I'm not flipping houses, but Brad here, we bought this property in Silver Springs. You can actually see the end result on the left here with the Pubbins who bought it. And we just wanted to throw this in there because we went in there, this was grandma's house.
Yeah.
But you need that wow factor when you're choosing a property to flip. This property, Tim, it was siding onto a golf course and an off-leash dog park. So people walking past there every day. Guess what? The Pubbins were walking their dog past there every day. And that's who bought this property. And this was a record sale when we sold it. We bought for 550, which was high, but
it was the neighborhood that they bought into.
and the view as well.
Yeah.
But this property, what we had to do, if someone was buying a property over 800,000, we needed to add in an ensuite. So that's what you're competing against. So you need to add some features like an ensuite. I mean, they opened up walls, Tim, beautiful kitchen in there, put another 2 bedrooms downstairs. So, but when you add in the ensuite, we had to find a bungalow that was over 1,250 square feet. So it had enough room in the master bedroom to add an ensuite. And somehow they managed to keep the room in between the master bedroom and the third bedroom, but they just took out a closet from there. They used part of the closet in the master bedroom to add an ensuite. And it was a walk-through kind of ensuite with a walk-in closet. And you know what? It achieved amazing results in Silver Springs.
Okay, the next one, change your life with buy and hold. This is probably the number one strategy that most of our clients use, buy and hold. It's the one that's going to build your wealth the most over time. So we're going to showcase a few clients here. We've got the three gentlemen up here in the top left. We've got Mamodu, Tim, and Rumi. And those guys joint ventured on this property, which was a suite of property in Deer Ridge. It's a very, very successful rental, but they also teamed up with a whole bunch of their friends, and they've bought real estate all over the city.
I could tell they own in Thorncliffe, they own in Huntington Hills, they own in, this one's in Deer Ridge. They own in Minnepore, and they own in Tuscany.
Yeah.
So they own everywhere, and good for them. They got it, they understood it, and guess what? Each property now, Tim, on each single property has gone up $100,000. And we were a little wary, Tim, when they were getting together, because we're like, we love doing joint ventures when it's 50-50.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're a little bit on the edge with a three-way split is because it dilutes your profit at the end of the day. But guess what? It dilutes your risk as well. So I love that. And you have three people looking after the property. So that's easier as well. And what I loved about what they did is that they diversified all over the city, Tim.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they've all gone up. They're all legally suited properties, and they're doing extremely, extremely well. And they're guys that are new to Canada. We could tell you the guy in the middle, he came here and he could actually afford $1 million property. And we said, no, don't do that. Actually, he owns in Silver Springs too, because his first townhouse we bought him. We said, don't go buy the big house now. Go buy a townhouse in Silver Springs, which we did. Actually, the couple on the previous slide who bought that flip, we sold their townhouse off market to Mamodu, just so he didn't have to compete with anyone getting it. So he got an off-market property. Those other people got an off-market property. We put the whole deal together, and now he owns 5-6 properties and lives in his dream home down south.
Yeah.
So that's huge. Okay, go to Grant.
Next, below them is Grant and Norco. They are standing in front of their property in Huntington Hills. That was their second one, I believe. So their strategy was to buy good, solid, always rented out properties. And so far they've done it. Every property they have is rarely vacant. They were good, solid properties, so they didn't require a lot of maintenance up front. They don't require a lot of maintenance ongoing. They're just doing the slow and steady, build your wealth over time.
Yeah, and we love it. They're on their third property. They have one in Brentwood, one in Royal Oak, and one in Huntington Hills. And they're all quality properties, and they've all gone up. Tim, the Brentwood one, who knows what that's worth? Could be over $200,000 what they paid for it. Royal Oak's gone up over $100,000 on that one, and this one as well. So good, solid, and we hate to tell you this, we know you don't want to hear it, but the buy and hold strategy is where you make the most wealth in real estate. We need to be honest. You set it, you forget it, you buy the right property, you have a good team around you, and you have that support, and you will get there.
Yeah, so the bottom left-hand corner there, Elijah and his family. This is a great story. What I love about this is they're standing in front of a house in Ogden that they bought. It's a suite of property. They actually have 2 rental properties. And why do they only have 2 rental properties? Because they only have 2 kids right now. They bought each rental property as a fund for their girls' educations later on. So he wanted to buy a rental property for each girl so that when they get to college, they have enough equity in those properties to fund their college education. And we thought that was a brilliant idea because they're so young, the girls right now, that by the time they are going to university in 18 years, there will be 18 years worth of equity in that property. And we're estimating that'll be around $400,000 or $500,000.
Yeah. Next guy in the middle, Caden. When he came, this guy was so young, I didn't even know how he was going to get a mortgage, but he got out of university, got a job. His parents actually helped him co-sign. We bought him this massive bungalow in Okotoks, and we had to go down there and interview people. We have an interview on our Crew TV about how much rent you can get in Okotoks. We didn't even believe it.
Crazy, yeah.
It's crazy. So this guy, you know what? He bought it, rented it out. He was cash flowing from day one. And he's so young that who knows what he's going to end up doing. But there you go. It's just a buy and hold strategy that's working for him.
Top right-hand corner here, Farhan and Farhid. They were a couple that came to us. They wanted us to buy them a property that would just be a good, solid rental property. We looked at a ton of properties. They weren't afraid to go in the Northeast. So we bought them this property in Abbeydale. We had never bought anybody a property in Abbeydale ever. What we found out is, holy cow, is that a great place to buy a rental property?
Yeah, safe, easy access. Now they've built all that shopping on
East Hills.
East Hills. So when we see infrastructure going into or next door to a community, we're all over it. This property was renovated, turnkey, rented out even before they owned it. They used our strategy to do that. And it's been a success since day one. They're already wanting to buy the second property. So they own their property they live in. They bought a rental property that's suited, and now they already want to go again. So you can see if you're doing it properly and you're working with the right people, you know, it's not a race. We want to stress that. We took possession of a property today, Tim, that needs major renovations. Yeah. It's not a race. Take your time, right? You'll eventually get there. Now, the last guy we want to stress this is Mustafa. Mustafa bought a property down in New Brighton. We bought it just last month. He got the keys, rented it out. And you know what? It's just a little townhouse that we picked up, I think, for $315,000. And comparable properties, the reason why we jumped on it, comparable properties are selling around $360,000.
Yeah, and the reason we got it so cheap is it was a rental property and the tenants were just a little messy.
Yeah.
It's not that the place was destroyed or torn apart, they were just a little messy, and that was turning off some homeowners. But Mustafa could see through that, and he knew when those tenants were out and the place was cleaned up, it would be on par in value with the ones that are selling today.
Yeah, so it's all about, and you know what, he rented it out for a crazy amount, like $2,150, covering all his costs. And now he's got a beautiful little rental that's, you know, very clean, tidy, good looking townhouse that's just going to continue doing well for him. So you can see all these people are buying different properties. There's no right or wrong. It's just making sure that the property is rentable and it's going to achieve the rents that we set out for it to get, right?
Okay, moving on, changing your life with alternative investment strategies. These people in the slides here are all doing something different. It's not the normal buy and hold thing, but they're all having huge success, and you can bet it's changing their life with the success that they're having. Top left corner, we've talked about Graham quite a bit in our seminars. He came to us recently. He now owns, he's doing the BRR strategy on condos.
Yeah, he's just doing the BRR.
Very good at it. He's done it 3 times now. He buys a condo, an original condo. He bought his first one for 190, had it fixed it up, had it appraised. Now it's 270.
Yep.
So he's currently on his 3rd condo right now. He's having someone go in there and fix it up for him, and we believe he's going to appraise that one a good 70 or 80,000 above what he paid for it.
Yeah. So he just continues to do the BRR. He's living for free. All of that rental income goes towards paying his mortgage. So he's living for free. And then he's just recycling his money in and out of properties, and he's doing it on condos.
Yeah.
Like, it's brilliant. He's doing it in the same building. we can't even believe it.
Below him, John and Donna. So this is a couple, their strategy is wholesaling. They were so into wholesaling, they did it all by the book.
They did a course on it.
They did a course on it. They had someone delivering flyers for them in all these neighborhoods to pick up these wholesaling properties. They actually got a few of them under contract. So they had some success at it. And it changed their life in that it got Donna interested in real estate, and now she changed careers. She's a realtor now.
Yeah, not with us.
Yeah.
But you know what? When they met us, we knew the wholesaling was hard to do. They understood where we're coming from. And we said, you know what? You guys would be really good at taking on a project. So Tim, where did we buy this house?
Oh yeah. So this is a house in Willow Park. They were going to flip that one. So they went in and they renovated it, and they turned out to be really, really good renovators.
They live there, and now I think we bought it in the low 500s, and it's probably worth low 800s.
Yeah.
So walking distance to Willow Park with all the amenities there. So yeah, you know, just getting into wholesaling and now getting into renovating, they've just made a lot of money from doing that.
So the bottom corner there, Alejandro and his family, he came to us about 2 years ago, wanted us to help buy a property. He bought a rental property in Thorncliffe. And what he wanted to do is he wanted to get into using hard money to flip properties with. So that's what he's doing right now. He just closed on a property in Edmonton. He got it through one of our partner realtors in Edmonton, Michelle. I don't know, some of you guys who've been with our seminars long enough, you would have seen her when she lived in Calgary. But she helped him buy kind of a rundown property that he's using hard money to purchase and hard money to renovate. And he's anticipating making $100,000 on that property.
Yeah, so he's going through exactly what we teach. And if that interests you, we can definitely help out with that. Tim, why don't we talk about Jonathan?
Jonathan in the middle there. Jonathan is actually, he's done a couple of deals with us. The first one was just a piece of land on Center Street. He wants to develop a medical office on that. So that's an ongoing project. He's going through the city right now with all the permitting process. The thing that he's standing on right now is his land deal in Bears Paw. He bought a parcel of land. It was 2.1 acres.
Yeah.
Something
21.
like 21 acres. Sorry, 21 acres in Bears Paw. It's just off the Highway 1A, about 2 minutes out of Calgary.
Yeah. So he bought it for 1.6. We're looking to subdivide this into 17 lots, 17 parcels. And each lot, Tim, what were the numbers on it? It was just ridiculous. He bought for 1.6. I think the profit range was each lot would roughly sell between now, Tim, geez.
Million.
Yeah, we were looking at selling each lot for roughly 700,000. Now each lot would sell for $1 million. Geez, he's going to make a lot of money off this. It costs a lot of money to subdivide, but now it's totally worth it. And that's just something else that he wanted to do. The last person here, Mark Kelly. He is one of our favorite guys. He does rent to owns, and he actually works with people that don't have the credit right now to qualify for a mortgage, gets them back on track. It's the right way to do rent to owns, but rent to owns can be a great way if you're not cash flowing enough right now, because when you do a rent to own, you get a large deposit. I know Mark was taking $20,000 deposit on his rent to own properties, which is huge. And then getting those people to work with the mortgage broker, qualifying 2, 3, 4 years. And then they would pay rent credits. Tim, the rent credits were like $500 a month.
Yeah.
So he was earning an extra $500 a month. He got $20,000 up front, and he had a built-in price at the end, and made a killing of helping people do rent to owns and then helping them with the end goal of actually owning.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of alternative strategies that you can use, even if you don't have any cash or credit of your own, like we spoke about earlier, to change your life and help you get ahead. The final slide we're going to talk about is these people here, changing your life with legal basement suites. Now, every client in these pictures here legalized at least one basement suite, and they're having huge success, because what we've harped on is all these illegal suites that are in the city. If you take the time and the effort to legalize them, that's going to not only increase your property value, but it's going to increase your rent by 40%.
I know this guy's on the call here. Hey, Mark, if you could just put in there what you bought your Inglewood condo, not condo, duplex for, and then someone offered you money for it not long ago, I think.
Mark's a gentleman beside that yellow fridge there.
Yeah,
there's a rumor going around that he took that fridge home and he's using it in his current house. We're not sure about that, but
anyway, so Mark's there, he might put it in there for us, but I think the numbers we bought around 425, and right now he bought for 375. Geez, we're off. Okay, 375. And then Mark, what do you think that's worth today? And I'll just quickly explain this. It's 1 block from the river. It's really just a few blocks from restaurant scene in Inglewood. And Inglewood, I just posted on our Facebook page, it got voted one of the best communities to live in
the country.
And so in the country.
Yeah.
And you know what? We heard this about a year ago, Tim.
Yeah.
People were telling us they love Inglewood, especially young people, just because you can ride everywhere. You can get the e-bikes or your shared rides or whatever, and you can walk to the pubs, you can walk to the restaurants, and it's close to downtown, so you can walk to work as well. So I don't know what it's worth right now, Mark. If someone was offering next door, it was something ridiculous what it was worth. And 565. So Mark bought for 375. Next door was being sold. Well, next door sold for 565.
Mark, you legalized the suite for about $2,500, something like that. So it was very, very cost effective to legalize it. Now he's got 2 suites. They're legal. They're never going to get shut down, and he's cash flowing really, really well.
Yeah. So I mean, here's a story. Mark lives up north, so he met us and really had to rely on our
Works up north.
Works up north. had to rely on our expertise to picking the right property, and obviously going from 375, no legal suite in the other side. So Mark's is legal, and it only cost him under $3,000 to turn it into a legal suite. And we can't even find a good legal suite of property, Tim, even in that area, even under you can't even find anything.
600.
Yeah, you can't even find under 600. So there you go. But all these people have gone through it. We help people go through that process simply because they can earn more money when they rent out that suite. And guess what? When the suite is legal, this is why we want people to do it. You can then go borrow against the equity that you've created. Sometimes you can do a legal suite, like in Mark's case. So he put the legal suite in for under 3,000. We knew straight away, Tim, it was probably worth $40,000, $50,000 more after that was done. But now it's even worth $565,000. He could borrow against the equity and go again whenever he's ready to do that. So that's the whole purpose of doing legal suites.
Top left hole there, we talked about him and Tasha, about their two properties. Underneath them is Brandon. He actually came to us as a joint venture partner with another one of our clients. They bought this house in Winston Heights. In Winston Heights, they legalized the basement suite. They put a garage in the back of the property. They put it in their mortgage in a purchase plus improvements.
They built a garage from so I know the numbers. They bought for $390, but they borrowed, I think, close to $440 because they legalized the suite and put in this massive garage. And we could tell you in Winston Heights, you can't find a house under 600,000. This was done just in the last year and a half. So is it possible to find these properties? Yes, it may not be in Winston Heights right now, but it's our job to go find another community that it's going to happen in. And we can tell you there's hotspots all over the city, even in the Northeast. We're seeing areas, but there are still areas that you have to avoid. And we go through that with our education and the reasoning behind all of that.
Okay, bottom left, this is Tiffany and Brandon. They're standing on the deck of their house in Citadel, which has a legal suite in the basement. He's done a legal suite in his Beddington house. And he has another joint venture in Acadia.
That was an off-market property he got as well. So he has 3 properties. They just recently got married. And so he's got 3 legal suite of properties.
So that's changed his life in that way. Up top here, top right, that's Daniel Kelly. Actually Mark Kelly's son, the other side.
That's his son.
He's got how many properties now?
Yes, I think he's on his 3rd property. Well, his dad says maybe 4 properties. And he's just, we've got a video on him. He had 3 properties under 30. And now I think he's on his 4th property already.
And this property that he's standing in, he actually built a suite in the basement to legal standards. So he did that all on his own, and he's having success with that one. The next couple down here, the guy with the toque and the woman in the front there holding the booklet there. That's Lisa and Fraser. They bought a house in Southwood. It looks like it's in Haysboro, but it's actually in Southwood. And the thing about this house is it's a bi-level, and it came with 2 separate heat sources, 2 hot water tanks. Everything was separate, top and bottom, and it was a bi-level from the 60s. She had a feeling that it was purpose-built up-down duplex. So she went and did some research with the city. It was a purpose-built duplex. So she had to convince them of this, which she did. She went back and found the original design or something like this from the city. And the city gave her the secondary suite sticker just like that because everything was separate.
Yeah, awesome. They're both Air Canada pilots and doing extremely well, own a bunch of real estate. And then the bottom guy is Daniel. Daniel came to us. He's a bit of an older guy, came to us. We picked him up a couple of townhouses. He JV'd with this home in Thorncliffe as well. And once again, the townhouses this year have gone up probably 10 to 15%, Tim, on 2 townhouses he owns by himself. And then this Thorncliffe property's gone from 400 all the way up to 600,000.
And if you notice what we're talking about certain communities, and the names of those communities come up fairly frequently, because those are the communities that at this point in time, you can get cash flowing properties. If you were talking to us 3 years ago, we would be talking about communities that were a little closer in from those communities. So while we're talking about Thorncliffe and Huntington Hills now, 3 years ago, we were talking about Highwood and Highland Park. they're the next communities closer to downtown. And as the prices go up in those communities, they don't cash flow anymore for the new buyers. So we have to go a little further out to get the cash flowing properties. So you'll notice this if you go back and you trace us through our client interviews and where their communities are. As time goes by and the properties get a little more expensive, we have to move to the spillover community, which is the next community out, to generate the cash flow. And we do talk about spillover communities quite a bit in some of our other videos. You can see them all on our YouTube Crew TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings our seminar pretty much to a close. Thank you for sticking with us. I know there's a lot to talk about.
Geez, it was a lot tonight. Hey, we're just going to quickly go through this. If you haven't read our free ebook, 1 Million Reasons to Buy Real Estate, you download it off our website. Our website is crewrealestateinvesting.com.